It's a Shoot Your Shot podcast, and we're here with our friend
Sam Hurd.
What's the worst piece of gear that you've ever owned, and how long did you lie to yourself before you got rid of it?
The original Sony mirrorless camera.
You're listening to the Shoot Your Shot podcast with Lindsay and Tim.
What's up, everybody? It's the Shoot Your Shot podcast with Timothy Musa and Lindsay Coulter.
Hey, what's up?
We're a community photography-driven podcast. We like to talk about photography comings and or goings.
Thank you so much for being here. We started every episode, if you didn't already know, by rolling the magic 8-ball behind me here.
Tim, it's almost my birthday. I'm turning 35.
Wow.
Crazy. And it's crazy because I'm not shook by it at all.
Okay.
Because for the past few months, I've been telling people that I'm 35. I've just been rounding up.
Sounds familiar.
You did that. I remember that actually quite well.
You get to experience this. For one of my birthdays, I was convinced I was turning 35 when I was actually 34 because we couldn't do simple math until much later.
And Tim convinced his own mother,
Yeah, she believed it,
that it was his, in fact, 35th birthday. And then I felt like a terrible friend. I'm like, holy shit, we didn't plan anything for Timmy's 35th.
No, it was fine.
So bad.
It was middle of COVID. It's fine.
Anyways, it is in fact my 35th, and I'm also so completely unbothered by birthdays because it's nice to be alive.
Yeah, it's great
You know?
just being here.
It's cool to be alive.
No complaints.
So let's do a birthday related question.
Love it.
Will 35 be, I don't want to say my best year ever. Okay. I don't want to go into it with that energy because I do remember once upon a time I said 2020 was going to be the best year ever. And I'm so sorry, everybody, but I think I'm the reason why the pandemic happened. But let's just say, is 35 going to be better than 34? Because I got to say this last year kind of fucked with me.
It did a bit for everyone.
Yeah, a little bit.
Without a doubt.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
She knows.
Thank you, Magic 8-Ball.
That's so nice. Okay, well, I'm excited. I'm going into this year feeling very energized and very excited. And I will say a big reason for that is because, so my birthday is April 6th.
Yep.
And like every year, a couple weeks before my birthday is always WPPI.
It's one of our favorite days of the year. Weeks.
It's so much fun. It's so energizing. It's really like, there's lots of conferences. They happen throughout the year, sometimes in May, sometimes in October, November.
A lot smaller too. Like this is a big boy. This is the big boy for the States, for wedding photographers, portrait photographers. They all get together for a few days in the desert in Vegas. And we're going to talk about it today. But first, new segment we're doing on the podcast called Photography News. We thought we'd check in with the old newsreels of the internet and see what's new in photography news. I have 3 stories to go with today.
Tim's bringing us back to his news days when he used to work at a national news station.
Good
so
times.
He wished that he could have been the newscaster, but
I don't.
No, he didn't.
I did not.
But today he is the newscaster. So Tim, take us away.
Photography news. First story is physics news. So on May 27th, the day of this recording today, 2025, 20 lucky photographers will get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to CERN, the world's largest particle physics lab, known for groundbreaking research on the fundamental building blocks of the universe, and home to the Large Hadron Collider. This part of the Global Physics Photo Walk, and this photo walk is part of this photo experience for the 20 photographers, is part of this year's Global Physics Photo Walk, which is pretty interesting. And this year's theme, Future Colliders, lets photographers explore cutting-edge tech shaping the next generation of particle accelerators. So the best shots from the photo walk here at CERN will be judged locally and internationally, with winners featured in CERN Courier and Symmetry magazine. The winning pictures will also be featured in an exhibition at CERN itself. I think it's really important. The reason I pulled this article,
I was going to say, I didn't understand a thing you just said, so I hope you're going to explain. I don't understand what you're talking about.
Large Hadron Collider smashes particles together at the speed of light to determine how this universe started, basically.
Okay, that's cool. You're just speaking words.
This is a massive research center in Belgium, I believe.
Okay.
Located like miles below the Earth, so the sun's rays can't permeate the Earth and affect the research. So they're taking people on a global physics walk to all these different photo locations around the world in support of science to like show what these spaces look like to other people using photo competitions.
My other question is,
please,
on May 27th, 2025.
Today.
What day do you think it is, Tim?
Is it the 27th?
Of what month?
Oh, it's May.
It's March,
It's
my guy.
March, so we still have time.
Oh my gosh. He's like, on the day of today's recording.
Oh my gosh.
And so I think my brain got stopped there. and then
the
it
crumb
turned
here.
off for the rest of the
So
entire
sorry, everyone.
news article. So
in my
if
brain, M months are all the same. So
So-
there's still time to apply.
So let's just go back. Okay, so in 2 months from today's date
this
of recording.
segment is already trash.
Holy shit.
This segment is garbage already.
So honestly, I'm super stoked you're not a journalist because your editor would be worried.
Anymore.
I'm
Yeah.
terrified for you. Okay, so let's go back.
Sure.
So in 2 months from today's
Yes.
date, so we still have some time, which is really exciting. So if
Not
you're
May
hearing
yet.
this news, something about things smashing together and they're taking a picture and 20 people get to do that.
20 people get to experience CERN. So it's a huge research facility
okay,
below the
okay.
Earth where they smash particles together to understand what the Big Bang would have been.
Okay.
And
and sorry,
it's-
so you think this is important?
I think it's important because
Sure it is.
I feel like the world is grossly against science for the last couple of years, and being able to expose it, no pun intended, is a great way to get people interested and caring about the progress of science and how it affects our society. So super excited for that. The fact that it's a photo specific walk, meaning that photographers go in, 20 of them will go in, take environmental portraits of this space.
It's very
probably
cool.
the people who work there. I think it's very cool.
Yeah, like give some big ups to the scientists
Yeah.
that are like making the world go round. And the even more miraculous part is that physicists have figured out how we can travel time and space and move 2 months in the future, which I also
we've done
really
it here
love.
too, folks. Yeah.
I also really love that. Okay, that was a good one.
Next.
Thank you so much for that.
Next article is titled a Wedding Gift 56 Years in the Making. This one should make a lot more sense for everyone. Margaret and Barry Sharman got married in 1968. All on board? All aware? 1968, a year on our calendar in the past, but never saw their wedding photos until earlier this year.
No way.
As newlyweds, they couldn't afford to pay for them, and the pictures sat forgotten for decades.
No.
That is, until a friend stumbled upon them at a museum after someone had turned them in from a garage sale just in time for Christmas. So it was a little bit before this year.
That
The Sharmans-
photographer held a grudge. They were like, these are mine.
If you think of, the Sharmans finally got to see their wedding day, bringing plenty of happy tears, a reminder that some moments are worth the wait. So if you think about it, way back when, before we had the old internet and all these screens we love to look at,
Yep.
people wouldn't get negatives; they get prints.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's wild that even after their wedding, they couldn't afford to get these prints made up.
But even I don't know if they got the negatives. They maybe
It sounds like they did not.
They didn't get the negatives.
No.
It
And was
sounds
that a
like
practice?
that's what we would do.
Do you
Like
think-
I wouldn't give somebody the negatives if they hadn't paid.
No.
Right. But that's what would have happened is that the photographer would have been paid like $150 for the day. And then he would have been like, okay, now Barry and what's her name? Margaret. We're going to sit down and discuss. They
Print sales.
do some IPS.
IPS, in-person sales.
And Margaret and Barry are like, we're so freaking broke.
Yeah.
And then other things keep coming up, right?
Yeah.
As things do after weddings, which is part of the reason why I like to do all of my sales up front.
Yes.
Because after the wedding, they are so in debt or they're trying to focus on other things, their other financial goals that they have in
Yes.
mind. And they're like, wedding's over. Don't
Yeah,
care about
don't
it
care
anymore.
anymore. Yeah.
Now they have a baby on the way. They're like, we can't afford wedding photos. That's a luxury we can't have.
All you have to do is wait 56 years. You get that shit for free. Get
That's
submitted
actually
to
so-
public domain. Go to a library.
I wonder
look it
how
there.
they got I wonder how they got connected, because if I was to see somebody's wedding photos
Yeah.
from 56 years ago, you're probably not putting together who it is, even if you did know them.
Unless you can connect the dots, you have photos of them from that time. But who knows?
Pretty crazy.
Pretty
I
wild,
love that
so
for them.
it's just a
Some
good,
things are worth the wait, but the other things
totally.
are actually just worth paying for
56
upfront.
years is a
so
long
your
time.
photographer gets
Chances
paid
are
too.
one of you will be dead. So no, this is great. I thought it was a little uplifting story.
It is really
Kinda really
nice.
cute little thing here.
Where was it based? Do you know?
It was somewhere in Canada,
oh my gosh.
East Coast. Yeah.
That's really nice. I like that one a lot.
And the last bit of news is just new gear. We don't really do gear on this show, but legitimately yesterday, March 26th, Canon
Maybe.
introduced the EOS R50V, an enhanced version of its entry-level mirrorless camera tailored for video enthusiasts, priced at
That's me.
$649
What's up?
for the body and $849.99 for the RF S14 and 30 millimeter. Who gives a shit? Cameras, there's one every 6 weeks.
I guarantee somebody
It's
cares
great.
about this, Tim.
Somebody cares.
R50V.
Take a look here. Let me know what you think.
Power shot. Yeah.
See, even reading it, you don't care.
But who really cares is the truth on that.
Those are my notes.
Okay, Tim's really well prepared, but he's keeping the notes private.
We made things good. Before we get into some of the streeters we captured, because we went around with a microphone and a camera on the trade show floor of WPPI at the Rio in Las Vegas last week, asking photographers slightly aggressive and unsettling questions that we hope you'll enjoy. We got some fun answers. It's nothing aggressive, nothing crazy. No one's upset.
A little chaotic.
No one cried. A little bit chaotic, but we asked Chat, our girlfriend Chat, what to ask people, and she came up with some really good questions.
Some really good ones.
So we turned it on to you, the photographers we saw at the trade show. Before we get into that, Lindsay and I are both each going to dive into our weeks, what we liked about it, how WPPI treated us this year.
Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah.
How do you feel? You can still hear my sore throat. We're actually recording this later than we planned to, right, Tim? Because we were planning on, Tim and I flew home to paint you a little picture. Tim and I flew home from Las Vegas on Thursday night.
Yep.
And we unfortunately did not land until 7:30 in the morning on Friday morning.
Yeah.
It's not that far of a flight. Our flight was delayed.
Yeah.
We took a red eye and then it was delayed. So lots of not awesome things happened there, which then led into the next day I had to shoot a wedding.
Yeah.
Did you say, did you?
Me too.
Oh yeah. You had to shoot a wedding too. And then the next day I woke up sick as a dog.
Yeah.
So that was when we were going to record this episode. But I'm still sick.
She's recovering.
America got me one more time again. And so that would be my downfall, I would say. But
okay.
I forget where I was going with
positively
this,
what did you like about the week?
Yeah, what I like. I was like, we were really sick. Life was terrible.
Yeah.
What I was going to say is we had so much fun that we hardly slept, which is probably why I'm so ill. I got there. The brain waves did connect. It's still May 27th in my mind. I think that it was a very different year. So if anybody that's listening wasn't at WPPI or you haven't been yet, WPPI is Wedding and Portrait Photography International, I suppose, is probably the last
Correct.
what the I is.
Yep.
And it's been going on for decades, probably 20
plus years.
Yeah, 25 maybe even. And for as long as I've known and as long as you've known, it's been on the Strip. It's been at the MGM. It's been at Mandalay Bay. And then the last few years, it's been at the Mirage, which is a hotel that is near and dear to all of us because, well, first of all, it's so freaking cute. But Taylor and I did get engaged there, which was so sweet. And then the evil people at what's that called? The big guitar people?
Hard Rock.
The Hard Rock came in and they said, psych, we're buying
ours
this.
Now. Yeah.
And so they bought our favorite hotel and they're in the process of tearing it down. So WPPI needed to find a new home, and apparently conferences on the Strip are millions and millions of dollars. Who would have guessed, right? They were spending like $3 million just on food and beverage, apparently.
They saved
something
a lot
insane.
of money by switching over.
So it was for the very first year at the Rio Hotel, which is, doesn't have a stellar reputation.
It's like a 13-minute walk to the Strip from that location.
If I had to guess out of 5 stars what the average person would give it, it would probably have like a 1.3.
2.5.
2.5. That's generous.
Yeah.
So there's 2 towers, and WPPI did get a room block only in the new tower. But if anybody tried to book through their points or Expedia or anything else, you got put in the other tower.
Yep.
All of us.
Bingo.
And so we were in the old decrepit tower. That was not WPPI's doing. They literally said, please go over here. And we said, no, we're doing our own thing.
We blew it.
And we ended up in a room that literally looked like it had seen some things. Yeah. And I guarantee it had.
Oh, for sure.
It smelled like cigarettes, which is probably, I have emphysema now.
The door, if you pushed on it more than 4 times, would just open.
100%.
Which I discovered, I'm like the last time, like, oh, that's not good.
Our door just didn't lock properly, which unfortunately somebody was robbed in their room while they were sleeping.
Yeah, one of the exhibitors got robbed while they were sleeping. Like the person stole their phone next to them.
Laptops, everything. Crazy. So
crazy.
We'll start out with that as but What I will say about this year and the Rio, because it is at the Rio for the next 5 years. First of all,
4 years. 4 years.
4 years. Sorry, including this year was 5. There was a sense of community this year that I think has been lacking in previous years when the hotels are so large. So MGM was like a city block. It was so big, multiple city blocks, honestly. And you have to really intentionally meet up with people. You'd have to like make sure that you had each other's location to try to find anybody.
Bingo.
It's still a big, like the Rio's still big. Everything
on top
in
of
Vegas
that,
is
you're
enormous.
on the Strip. Like you could pretty much go anywhere outside the MGM as well.
So people would leave, right? And being that we could hardly leave, or you'd have to take an Uber everywhere.
Yeah.
More people were sticking around the hotel, which is whatever you think that is, whether that's a good thing or if not. But so it was a different year. But I think because it was a different year, the energy was different, and we were all really trying to like obviously make it a great experience for
sure.
Us as attendees, for our friends that are exhibitors. We want to make sure that they're doing well and they're successful.
I also feel like this is the year that you and Taylor collectively were both booked like almost every hour on the hour. You had something
it was
to
a
do,
lot.
whether it's attending a booth to help with like selling Imagine or selling social templates. Taylor had like 45 different photo walks he had to go to like host, which is basically just him standing around being like, I'm a resource, ask me questions. There's a styled shoot over here, but click. Come ask me what you think of it.
He was teaching like photo and video skills during his like in-person speaking part at
he had a bunch of speaking engagements too. Yeah. So it was a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot. Yeah. And then like at the last minute, Susan Stripling couldn't host the wedding summit. So then I hosted the wedding summit.
Yep.
Which was really fun and very random. But the first few years at WPPI, I think I committed more to Vegas than I did to the conference.
Okay.
And I really enjoyed committing to the conference this year. Like I have for sure just gone and been like, I'd rather just hang out with my friends. I don't really feel like doing the whole conference thing.
Fair.
And it was fun doing like the expo and hanging out with people.
Yeah.
So what was your highlight? What were a few of your highlights?
For me, the highlight was actually getting Magic wedding photographer. He's our friend from Poland, Warsaw, Poland. Amazing destination travel photographer on the podcast. That was so nice. We tried two times already. Last year at WPPI, we tried. No bueno, not enough time. The photo summit you and Taylor hosted here in Waterloo, Ontario. He was also a guest, flew in from Warsaw, Poland to Ontario, Canada.
Crazy.
Also didn't have time over those 3 days. So actually getting him to sit down on a couch, chat with us, even for 38 minutes, which is all it was, was a delight.
We had to like zoom out. The end is so aggressive. We were like, see ya, we have a limo to get into.
If you saw that episode and you're like, hey, where's the rest of it? It's coming sooner. Actually later than sooner, pardon me.
I was like, wait, it's not coming. Actually, we didn't. He was like, we'll do this again. And I was like, we're not going to be able to get this again. We could barely get this together.
Hell no.
That's so funny. But it was really funny.
Yeah.
And it was fun to get together in our room and just like sit, just the three of us, because it's so go.
It's nonstop. Yeah. No, I really liked, I like a shop. You know this about me. I like going for a little shop.
I love it.
And the trade room floor is basically just a big old shop. You get to walk around, look at all the new toys, tech, things you probably shouldn't buy, things you can't afford, but you're like, I don't need that.
What are you going to buy? Did you buy anything?
No, I didn't buy anything. No. I just like to shop with my eyes, see what's available. There's that bubble machine we saw, which is pretty dope.
The bubble machine was really cool.
Yeah,
so there was this like gun
that shoots smoke, basically, like a haze machine that's handheld. And then there's an attachment with a fan that creates little bubbles of smoke, so you pop them and they just become like little whiffs and puffs of smoke.
I think it would be really cool for details, like for weddings, for flat lays and stuff. It would also be really fun for kids.
Oh yeah.
Be really fun at like a backlit golden hour shoot.
Sure.
It'd be fun at nighttime.
Yeah, off-camera flash.
Yeah. So I don't remember the name of it at all. So this is a really great pitch, you guys.
You got a pamphlet? Someone got a pamphlet. Who cares? I think I took video somewhere on my phone. It's somewhere, but it's really really dope.
Actually I do have a video. It was really cool. I think there's a few different companies doing it, but this company was only like a couple $100, whereas the other ones that I've seen were in the thousands. Yeah. Jason Vincent has one that's really cool.
So seeing booths like that, seeing our friends like Focal, seeing Imagine, seeing Angela from Social Templates, all the people we know and love in real life, just being able to like be in their space and say hello and give them a hug and high five them and ask them how their business is going and like just check in.
People always see online all the time and you're like, oh, we can be like real online friends.
In real life. Yeah. There's a guy named Eli from Bend, Oregon, I think, Pacific Northwest. he's lovely. We chat online all the time. I'm always commenting on his stories, like with his kid and the food he eats, and like he lives in the backcountry, a lot of deer. He couldn't be more opposite to me, if you're listening, Eli, like in terms of like he has guns and he lives like in the country, and like he just has this really adventurous outdoorsy life, which I love. And so being able to see him in real life, like, hey man, what's up? Yeah, we can, but like we don't have a right to buy guns.
Right.
We don't have that right.
What? You just said we have a right to buy guns.
We don't have a right to buy guns, I said.
Oh, yeah. We do. You can buy a gun.
No, a right to bear arms is what the United States has. We don't have that right. We have the privilege to.
We can.
It's not one of our constitutional rights.
I understand. Okay. But yes,
yeah,
you're saying
people like that, you know? Yeah. Like it was delightful to meet up with people who are just parasocial relationships for the most part. So
it is actually, nice. That's a really good point there, Tim, that you're making. I feel like one of the things that I do like about conferences is that we obviously found each other because we are very similar people.
Yeah.
We live in the same area. We do very similar things.
Totally.
We then start to become even more like each other because we spend so much time together.
Bingo.
And so going outside of our very comfortable little friendship bubble, and meeting and seeing other people and just getting to know them from like a very non-judgmental standpoint, but like just really enjoying each other's company is really lovely. I think, it makes us all better people. It makes us all more tolerant and more understanding. And like, I have friends that are like extremely religious that I like to hang out with at the conferences. And like, that's not my journey, but I love it for them.
Totally.
And then I have friends that are like, have like 5 kids. And then I have friends that are like forever single, like doing their own thing. And I just like to hang out with all of the people.
Yeah.
And it just makes me happy.
Yeah.
No, that is really, really fun. I enjoy that also. Yeah.
And we had the grilled cheese off, which was lovely, and the suite at the Rio 4 Focal. They host a grilled cheese competition every year at WPPI. A couple of photographers get together. It's like, what was it, 50 people in that room? It was pretty intense.
Least. Oh, it was way more than 50. Yeah.
It was just like a nice crush to be around everyone and just like watch people grill cheese and smell you did not well.
Excuse me? I came in second.
Oh, you did? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you lost. It's the only one I paid attention to. Everyone, all the judges were like scrutinizing you for.
I was the very first person to go.
Okay, let's
first of all.
Redemption. Let's
first
do it.
of all,
okay.
I can't believe this. So we host a grilled cheese party in our suite. 2 years ago, we hosted it in our suite and in the suite that we were actually staying in. And I came home and I told Taylor, we will never do that again. That was such a nightmare.
Yeah.
Because our room smelled like grilled cheese.
Yeah.
And like Sam Hurd did one with onions on it. So our room reeked of onions the entire rest of the week. My clothes, my hair, everything smelled. So this year we made a more logical decision. Taylor and I stayed on a suite 2 floors above where this one was hosted. That was much better. And this year I was one of the guest chefs. Nobody explained this very well at the event, but each of the guest chefs represented the camera brand.
Correct.
So I was there representing Nikon.
Right.
Absolutely no affiliation. Like Nikon was not affiliated with the grilled cheese event.
Unofficially.
We were having like a head-to-head. So, everybody that has like their own affiliation or is either an ambassador or is like a creator or something in some way with the brand, they were representing. So it was myself, John Branch, Gary Hughes. Did Vanessa Joy make one? I don't think she ended up doing it.
No.
Who am I missing?
Magic wedding photographer.
Magic. Thank you so much. Yeah. So I went first.
Yep.
And I think everybody still was full of steam, and the judges, Seth Miranda and Jason Vincent, just destroyed me.
They ripped you apart.
They were like, this is terrible. And I'm like, it's literally a great grilled cheese. Like, you guys are crazy.
I think they were doing it for the
plot. They were showing it all up.
He was tearing it apart. He was putting his nose inside of it. Like he was
cut it in half and then said there's no cheese pull. I was like, wait, you literally just cut the cheese in half with a knife. So, anyways, I wasn't taking it very personally because I don't really give a shit. It's a grilled cheese party.
I kind of care. It's kind of important.
But then Gary Hughes went, John Branch went.
Yep.
Well, Magic went right after me.
Magic brought his own cheese from Poland.
Magic brought his own cheese from Poland. That's
which feels like
cool.
a bit of a flex and maybe disqualification because it just feels like it's outside. There's no rules, but I feel like that's
No. You
can do whatever you want.
of course.
Okay.
Just nobody else tried.
Okay.
I put ketchup chips in mine.
You did. That's right.
Because I wanted to bring the Canadian, and then for creative factor,
Yes.
I tried to have on the Tragically Hip playing in the
Okay.
back.
Oh yeah, there was that. I heard
And
that.
the music wasn't playing loud enough
Right.
because everybody was just yapping because it was
Right.
a party, and then nobody was listening. So then I just started singing the Tragically Hip as I served it to them.
Yeah.
There were a lot of layers to that party.
I'm sorry to
I can't
besmirch
believe
you.
you said that I
I
came in
didn't know
last
that
because they in fact started changing other people's scores
Retroactively.
because I went first.
Right.
And then they started changing other people's scores to keep putting me into second place because
Right.
the first place ended up being John Branch because I guess he didn't make them cry. Gary Hughes,
Made them cry?
his grilled cheese was so good, Seth Miranda cried.
Oh wow.
Literally a tear fell.
In a perfect world, this would have been judged differently, where everyone has their own grill, right?
Yes.
All 4 contestants grill at the same time.
They were yapping for so long
There was
at
so
the
much
beginning of
talking.
mine
Yeah.
that my sandwich was cold then by the time they tried it.
Yeah.
I'm like, have you guys never seen Hell's Kitchen? This is a criminal.
Yeah.
Anyways, I digress. I
Second place.
I think I was the only person there without children and I still came in second place. So I would say that
Yeah.
first of all, your kids are sad that you guys are bad at cooking grilled cheese. And I didn't even bring any cheese from Poland. You know what I mean?
True.
So, but apparently John Branch did like a 3-layer, cut off
did.
the crust.
He did, yeah.
I mean, the man has 30 children. He should be good at cooking grilled cheese by now.
Hopefully.
So anyways, yeah, pretty much the highlight of my trip was cooking the grilled cheese.
Silver medal.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Silver
Well done.
in the grilled cheese comp. Yeah. I also spoke on the Nikon stage, which
You
was
did. Let's
probably
talk about
like
that.
the highlight,
That was
I would
huge,
say for me.
dude.
That was pretty nice.
Okay.
Yeah. So
What was that like? It was a panel, obviously.
yeah, it was a panel. So Nikon reached out to me actually while I was at imaging. So that's the other thing. If you're a photographer who's like, how do I get in front of more brands? How do I have better relationships with brands? You actually have to be there physically in front of them.
It helps.
You can do the online stuff all day, but everybody's doing the online stuff. And the thing that will set you apart is physically being in front of them and being a good person and, bringing them a coffee and saying, hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
Asking if they need anything at their booth. They probably want a glass of water, whatever. And so, yeah, I was at imaging and I was there in a completely informal capacity. I didn't really have a role to do at imaging. So I was just roaming. I was shopping.
Yeah.
I was wandering the trade show floor and I was at the Nikon booth just hanging out. And Mike Corrado came up to me and was like, hey, like, we know each other because he knows that I had just signed on with Nikon.
Yep.
And then one of their other people came up to me and said, hey, would you like to speak at WPPI? And I was like, in fact,
Okay.
I would love that.
Love that.
So they wanted somebody to speak on the Z6 III as being used for a wedding camera, which honestly, it truly is the GOAT. You wouldn't have to pay me to say that. I would say that anybody that's shot a wedding with me using the Z6 III has heard me be like, holy shit, this camera is
amazing.
incredible.
Yeah.
Like, I just shot this wedding on Saturday and the entire
mentioned.
day,
Yeah.
I kept on turning to my second Montana and I was like, I'm stunned. I'm actually stunned at how fast this autofocus. I was like doing autofocus tests with her, which I could never do because again, I don't care about gear.
Don't
but
care.
now all of a sudden I'm a gear person.
Gear bro.
Because I'm like, it's so dark in this room. It's completely lit by candles. The lights overhead are terrible. And I would just like with my 85 on, just do this and it would automatically catch focus. And I was like, wow.
What a flex.
What a flex. Yeah. So anyways, it's at 6 is the go. And I did have a lot of fun yapping about it on the panel and just like hanging out with fellow Nikon shooters and seeing their work. And yeah, it felt nice. It felt nice to be appreciated, you guys.
Doesn't it feel nice? No, you did really well. You were fantastic.
Thank you so
were really
much.
well spoken.
Wow,
all your points
thank
were
you.
like beginning, middle, end. You had a complete story for everything you mentioned. It was really well done. So you should
Wow.
feel good
Thank
about
you
that.
so much.
Broadcast should be up at some point. I think they live casted it, but it should
They said
be
April 1st. They think it's going to be
amazing.
up.
That's
Yeah.
soon.
So
that's great.
I'll
By the
share
time
it.
this episode comes out, you'll have
Perhaps we'll
something
have
you
it
can
out
share
there.
online.
Yeah, I can share with you guys.
Amazing.
Yeah, no, it was fun. And you know what I will say, Tim, is
Go
that
for it.
I've loved seeing you interact with more brands because I think that like you've been, Taylor's video guy at a lot of events or you've been like hanging out and being supportive.
Yeah.
But this WPPI, I think for all of us, everybody was like, We want your squad. We got to come up with like a really bad name, like the dope squad or the hype squad or like.
That's been taken, hasn't it?
Yeah,
Just dope squad taken
for
by
sure it has been.
McKinnon
It's so freaking embarrassing.
Yeah.
I don't want a name, but like I think
you want the reputation.
I want
the affiliation.
I want people to be like, oh, that crew. You know what I mean? And it does feel like that's like people are getting that you're not just Taylor's video guy or the guy that like holds our coffee and helps out. Like they're like, oh, that's Tim. Like Tim has like very much his own energy that it brings to the table and your own experiences. And I know Imagine was stoked that you were there. We had honestly, if anybody from Imagine is listening to this, that was the best party you've ever hosted.
Dudes.
Never host anything other than what you just did. You're going to have to reiterate that. It's going to be really, really hard. But we went to a dart bar, and they had actual real darts which only in America could you guys do that. That's crazy. In like the most litigious country, you guys have real darts. Crazy. But it was so much fun.
Yeah.
We got to meet so many other Imagine ambassadors. I feel like everybody there loved you. You helped out so much with social templates and like really killed it on helping sell that.
It's funny you mentioned that about feeling more like I was in the mix of things.
Yeah.
Because I was talking to Gary Hughes at the grilled cheese party, and we're just chatting. He's like, I think I got served one of your ads on Instagram. I'm like, oh, I didn't put any ads on recently, but that's cool. He's like, yeah, it popped up. It's your product video, like your services video of me like talking about, hey, you know, Ferris Bueller says, you know, life goes by real fast.
Your promo that you talked about.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the promo video I made, he said he got served that. He thought it was really good, really awesome. He's like, and then I looked at your work and like, your work's good. And I've always kind of not discounted you as like a photographer, but like I always thought of you as like the guy who helps. Like you're the helper for Taylor. You shoot videos. You help Lindsay with stuff. Like you're just kind of and that's not a bad thing. Like he's like, you're a helpful guy, and I think that's wonderful. But like I never really saw you as anything other than that. So to see this product video and see the work you put out there as like, oh shit, he's good. Yeah. He was like, I was like pleasantly.
That's such a nice thing for him to say.
It was really nice. And then we talked about Russian watches for a while, which was weird.
I love that.
Really cool. No, I like Gary a lot.
No, he's very thoughtful. Yeah. He's always like, he's just speaks very, very thoughtfully and very kindly. And I like that he processed that. Like, oh, like Tim's his own guy. Yeah. I think it's hard when you are and I've talked to you about this before actually, is like you have always been prior to like who you are. I don't know. Let's say 10 years ago, right? Okay. Prior to you starting this business, right? You've always been in support roles. You have been the tech guy that helps out. You know, are in the behind the scenes at CTV. You are like the social media marketing guy for a tech company. Like you were not the guy in front of things, but now you are the guy in front of things. And it probably takes a lot of mental shifting to put yourself into the like, I'm the guy in front of things.
Yeah, I get dates wrong. I think March is May, so it's a slow burn.
Stop.
But I know I understand what goes into the idea of being in front of the camera. More.
You're very good at it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're very good at it. Everybody, let's give a round of applause to Tim.
I don't have that sound effect yet. We also have a new switcher, everybody. You can't see it. It's off frame here, but it's the Rodecaster video.
It's so cool, you guys.
Friggin' dope, dude. So I'm excited to show some cool things that it does in the future. And
maybe right now, should we go
Let's go into it? We've as we mentioned at the top of this episode, we established and captured a bunch of really fun video from people on the showroom trade floor of WPPI. Asked them some pretty interesting questions. So we'll jump into the first one. We'll go down the list and then we can talk about them as we go. First two are our good friend, Sam Hurd.
Hi, everybody. We're back. It's a Shoot Your Shot podcast, and we're here with our friend,
Sam Hurd.
This is our friend, Sam Hurd. Sam, where can people find you on the internet?
Instagram, I am the Sam.
Instagram, I am the Sam. Okay, Sam, we have a question for you. What's the worst piece of gear that you've ever owned, and how long did you lie to yourself before you got rid of it?
The original Sony mirrorless camera. And I was all in with Sony because I believed mirrorless would be the future, but it took them many years to get to where they are now.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. The first Sony mirrorless camera.
I think that was the A7. A7, I think.
A7, just it. That's it. That's all. Okay.
Terrible.
It was really, truly horrible.
Really bad.
What was so bad about it?
Autofocus was just the sensor itself was also just bad news. Oh, they had like no native lenses. It was terrible.
Sam.
So just all around, just the worst
bad.
piece of gear he's ever
Yeah,
owned.
yeah.
And I will say, I was excited to ask Sam that question because Sam has owned every piece of gear.
He's
the opposite of us.
He's the most gear guy.
He's like, gear? I know her.
Oh, I'll have that. Yeah.
Yes.
More for me, please. Two helpings. Jacob Clark, our friend who filmed a lot of these little videos for
Thanks,
us. Thank you so
Jakey.
much, Jacob. Owe you a beer. He went to his house because they shoot together often. He was in the area. He stayed at his house for a night, and he's like, he has so many gadgets and toys. And even he posted a reel about getting rid of his Starlink because fucking
He's just
Elon
going
Musk.
to toss it.
He's like, no,
It's
this
never
goes
even
in
been opened.
trash mountain. He has a mountain in his home of just garbage. So
And it's just garbage of
But, like,
boxes
high
probably
valuable.
from tech that
Yeah.
he has purchased. Which
Or was
first of all,
gifted.
like, I
Yeah.
mean, I wanted to ask him, how often does your recycling come? Like, has this been weeks, months?
Yeah.
Like, zero judgment, because Taylor and I also have a recycling mountain that always builds up before we're like, fuck, we should probably take this shit out. But
what about you? What's the gear you've waited the longest to get rid of? For you realized it was shit. You lied to yourself for.
I'm trying to think.
Yeah. It's tough, right?
It's really hard.
Yeah.
Might be the R6. maybe the R6 Mark II. But I never actually lied to myself. I knew that thing sucked from day one.
Yeah.
No, that's not true. I created a lot of really good work on it, and it's hard for me to go from that camera that I obviously ended on a really bad sour note with, just because it ended up really not being fun for me.
Bingo.
I really did not. I did not enjoy the R6 or the R6 Mark II. I had one good R6, moderately okay, good Mark 6. The other thing that I will say is the RF 24-70 2.8 was the most soulless lens, and I started to think that I actually just don't like a 24-70 until I started shooting on the Nikon a Z series 24-70,
It's
and
so
I'm like,
nice. It feels like a 1.8. Like it doesn't feel like
gorgeous.
a 2.8 at all.
No, it doesn't make any sense to me because it does not look like a 2.8
No.
at all. It literally looks the
They're
same.
lying to us. I'm guaranteed.
It looks the same
convinced.
as like the 85 1.8 does for skin tones, the smoothness, the bokeh, everything. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And then the other one, and sorry Nikon, was the D750.
Okay.
But I never lied to myself. I really didn't enjoy that camera. I liked the shape. I liked the size of it and the weight of it. But they put the quality button on the top of it. And so that's how I shot a wedding on JPEG once. Whoopsie. But I did immediately get rid of it after that. I have no chill when it comes to gear. So if it's going to do me any level of disservice, same thing with the R6, immediately no. I'm not waiting very long to get rid of that. Unfortunately, the R6 took a bit longer because I was so heavily invested in the system that it takes a lot to pull yourself out of $30,000 worth of gear.
Tough. It's quite the whole.
Yeah. What about you, Tim? What's your gear that you hated and then you lied to yourself about liking it?
From DSLRs, from Nikon to Canon way back in 2020. First lens I bought was the 85 1.4 Samyang that is no longer able to be purchased.
On Canon?
On Canon.
Yeah.
Because Canon is very litigious with their RF mount. So anyway, I've used that lens maybe 4 times. And I'm like, I need to not use it. I don't like the 85. Is that weird?
You don't like the 85
50.
or that one? Because that one is very different.
That one's different. I like the 85 for the Nikon. That was a beautiful lens.
So, okay.
The 1.8 was beautiful.
I'm going to bring in
so much.
the 85 1.8 that I just got for the Z mount.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Really nice.
So I just used it at this past wedding for all of the reception stuff because it's at Ancaster Mill. If you shoot in our area, you know, it's just so dark in there.
Truly. But
that is the combo that I had on that was like unbelievably
Really?
fast.
Okay.
It's very bright.
Yeah.
I did like the Samyang. It was different. The flare was peach, which I really liked. I liked that the flare was peach.
It was
Why
nice.
was it peach? I don't understand that.
I get a similar,
I'm not a scientist.
I get a similar, more of a rainbow flare for my 50 1.2 on the Canon, which I really, really fucking like.
Yeah. So, I mean, things that are definitely optically wrong with them, but I'm enjoying, so I don't really give a shit. I also take my thumb, smudge it on the front of my glass and try to give myself more of a flare a lot of the time. So sorry to the people that spent their entire lives making these beautiful lenses.
It's not a gear podcast.
But yeah, the same, we keep saying that and yet we're here. We're here just talking about
it's a black
gear.
hole keeps sucking us in.
Okay, let's go to the next one. We're going to be here for the next 6 years.
Sam part 2.
Okay, I have another question for you, Sam. Your couple on your wedding day gets into a massive argument, massive, screaming, yelling. What do? Do you grab popcorn, take a step back and just let it unfold? Or do you start snapping candids?
Oh, Definitely don't snap candidates. I take a step back and interject when it feels right. Somebody closer to the couple is going to do a better job than managing that situation than I ever am. So, gratefully, never had to deal with that scenario. Certainly some angry, maybe parents or family members, and that I can kind of interject and be sometimes a buffer between the couple and the angry family member, because I can take the couple away because we got to go do some photos now or something. But yeah, I've never had to actually deal with the couple themselves fighting. That's my answer.
That's a good one. We accept that one. That was a really good answer.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Sam.
Yeah, that was a really good one.
Yeah.
I threw him like the most curveball of question. He's like, here's a real answer. But it was good. I mean, the man teaches a lot of workshops. He obviously knows how he would handle most scenarios, probably because he has done so many weddings that he would really know.
For sure.
Have you ever had a couple get into a fight on a wedding day, Tim?
Not a couple. No. Thankfully, no, we did have a couple. You and I both were there. The first wedding I shot with you at the Dune Heritage Crossroads Village.
Couldn't have been me.
It was you. It was absolutely you. Can you pretend to be happy? It's our wedding day. Do you remember this?
Yeah, but I don't remember it being there.
It was there. It was 110% there because it was the shitty church. We went to a fence line along by where the blacksmith was. Like
that was not Dune Heritage, but that was another heritage one. It was like in Halton or something. Same difference.
Okay.
Yes.
And so we've experienced that. It got quiet.
And then they separated and no one told us what was going on. And I think I'd been doing weddings for a few years.
This was 11 years ago, dude.
But not long, so not a few years. So long enough that I was like, I don't know what one does in this scenario.
No idea.
And we were like, okay, I guess I'll go take pictures of the girls and you take pictures of the guys.
Yeah.
That was a bad one.
That was not good.
Actually, that's so funny. I think you probably get more of that in the early years and then later on. I do get more of what Sam said with parents and there being tensions with parents, and that's always tough. There's a lot of expectations that are both spoken and unspoken when it comes to families and weddings and what parents are hoping their kids are going to do or not do, and kids are hoping their parents are going to leave alone or not leave alone on a wedding day, right? And unless you have really clear expectations and conversations ahead of time, it sucks when those things come out on a wedding day.
Feelings get
right?
hurt.
Like, oh, what do you mean you're not going to do a photo with all of the aunts and uncles and the cousins and everybody?
They're all here at once.
And then parents get upset.
Dude.
And the person that is paying for this entire experience, usually the bride and groom, are like, we don't want to do that.
Not happening?
We've told you to want to do that, whatever.
Along. Yeah.
But yes, I do what Sam does, which is like we actually gotta
guys,
get going.
the light is perfect. We should get going. Yeah.
I do appreciate when people give me a heads up. I do have a thing in my questionnaire that says, are there any family dynamics I need to know about? Which actually, I think I got from Sam's questionnaire because he shot our wedding.
Yeah.
And it said, are there any deaths or anything in your family that we need to know?
Divorces or anything embarrassing, right?
Yeah, anything we need to know about. Which is really helpful because I actually shot a wedding at Whistlebear a number of years ago that nobody told me that the groom's parents were not only divorced but hated each other, truly hated each other. Not a little bit of hatred, like there had to have been infidelity or something. Like it was so extreme, the hatred. And they were standing somewhat close to each other, and I didn't put together that the woman standing beside the dad was his girlfriend. Oof. And so I had done bride's side, and it was pretty standard across the board. Mom, dad, siblings, go ahead, whatever. And then we switched to the groom's side, and I'm pretty sure it was the groom. And we switched to the other side, and it was like mom and dad, and they looked at me and they looked at the groom and they were like, we are not doing that.
Not happening.
And so it turned into this whole thing. They thought that the groom was asking for this photo together.
Oh, no.
And I was like, I'm so sorry. This is obviously before I did photo lists. We've learned. Lessons have been learned.
We live and we learn, people.
But I was like, I'm so sorry. That was not his request. We can do whatever you want. But it was like sour. And you know what? That freaking sucks.
Not a good feeling.
You can't just pull this shit together for one day. But anyways,
come on, guys.
I digress. Family tensions are really, really challenging. And it's always nice to know what you're walking into ahead of time. Would have been so swell if somebody would have said, by the way, that girl is the person that my dad cheated on my mom with. If you could not make sure they're not in the same pictures together, that would be cool. I would have loved the heads up. I wasn't given one.
Hindsight's 2020. Moving on.
Let's move on.
First of all, Anna, tell us who you are, what you do, and your Instagram.
My Instagram is Anna Pastoria. I am a destination wedding photographer, and what I do is shoot weddings.
You know, Tim and I, we're petty betties. What is the pettiest reason that you've ever unfollowed or muted another photographer?
So to be completely honest, there have been many. So there was this really cool couple that I really wanted to shoot, and then they went with someone else, and their photos, the photos they took of that couple were so good that I was so jealous, and I just unfollowed them and never went to see their work again because I'm not as good.
You are as good.
You're worthy of that booking. Took a dark turn there, but I think we can all feel that way when you know that, damn, that person ate. They ate my lunch and they ate their own lunch.
Been there.
Just
Seen
the
that.
clips that it goes back to us after these, I'm like just horrified. Like, oh my gosh. So that
We
was
love
Anna. Anna is my partnership manager at
Yeah.
Imagine.
Also a wedding photographer.
Also a wedding photographer. We caught up with Anna at the Imagine booth. That was so much fun. Yeah, honestly, Anna, I've been there. It hurts when you see somebody and you're like, damn.
Yeah.
I thought that I was getting that booking.
Whoops.
Or when somebody, I don't think I've unfollowed a photographer for
Okay.
this, but I have unfollowed the couple afterwards when they've inquired, they've gone through the whole process. I followed them back because I assumed we were going to be working together, and then they go with somebody else and you're like, okay, well, I
Whoops.
was wrong.
Yeah.
I was wrong. Okay, let's move on to our friend Jeff Chang, which wait, are we moving on to Jeff Chang?
No, we're not.
Is he next? Okay, just joking.
No.
But Jeff Chang will be coming up both in this episode and on our next episode.
Very exciting.
We're so excited. So our friend Jeff from Vancouver is coming up somewhere in here. I don't
Next
pretend
week.
to know where the buttons are.
The buttons are all laid out.
It's not for me.
Next is Anna again.
Okay.
What would you rather? To show up to a wedding and realize that you forgot your pants, so you're just wearing your shirt, your blazer, your shoes, your socks, no pants? Or would you rather be constantly hit on by the groom during the wedding?
Am I wearing underwear?
Oh yeah, you can have undies.
Yeah, then I can rock a Beyonce. It's fine.
You know what? Couples, if you're hearing this, your grooms are safe with Anna
Yes, but your eyes may not be.
because she will be pantsless. Thanks, Anna. Great one.
Very honest, Anna. Thank you.
So good. I love that.
What about you, dude? You've been hit on by several groomsmen.
I said
But the groom. The groom is the aggressive one.
And I have to say, like Tim and I were going through, we have like a list of like 65 questions from ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And that one just popped into my head. I don't know. The chaos was really chaosing at WPPI.
Yeah.
I think we were rolling with it. Also, Anna brings out the most chaos in me.
She's a
I love
chaotic
her.
but lovely person. Yeah.
What would I rather? I would definitely rather have the groom hit on me at a wedding than show up without pants, because him hitting on me is a reflection of him. Me showing up without pants is a reflection of me.
Fair.
Right? I'd be like, so you need to stop. I mean, I didn't say that I would rather the groom hit on me and me return.
Right. No, there's no volley here. It's just one. Yeah.
An important clarification.
Bingo.
It would definitely be awkward, but I have been known to tell people to leave me alone once or twice. Actually, this is the year that I'm finally going to get the custom made jacket that says "Don't touch me" on it.
Don't fucking touch me.
I'm gonna. So for those
On
of
the
you who
collar?
maybe haven't heard of this, I'm gonna get a blazer made that when I flip it up, it says "Don't touch me" on the back of it.
Sir Monsieur does women's blazers.
I know, that's
so
what I'm gonna do.
the
I'm
one.
really excited about it. I might even just go to a tailor and get them to like embroider that on some of my
You have a ton of
others,
jackets.
because
Why not?
I've just had so many weddings where it's the lower back rub. I'm not really clear why we think we need to communicate by rubbing a lower back. Like if you came up to me and you did that, I mean,
Why would I?
first of all, it wouldn't be my lower back. I could see you rubbing my back, being like, "You having a good day, bud?" Friends.
Whack.
You know, you just
Not
hit me.
this.
I hope
Not like this is too. It's too personal.
like the soft
Don't.
the soft touch.
Don't do that, guys.
Listen.
No.
Absolutely not.
No, thank
okay. So I have a bit of an arsenal prepared for when people are weird at
these?
weddings. It's literally my hands up like this. I go,
No touching. We're not touching right now. Thank you.
You just have to kind of like embarrass them into submission.
Yeah.
So I think if a groom was hitting on me, I'm sure that we would be able to handle that. But why would they? Because their brides are probably so beautiful. Okay, next person.
It's Lindsay. We're back here with the Shoot Your Shot podcast on location at WPPI, and we're here with our friend
Jeff Chang
from
The Apartment Photo.
Oh my gosh, it's so nice to see you, a fellow Canadian.
Oh, did you want me to say where I'm from, like country, or did you mean business?
I meant whatever you wanted me to mean. That's exactly
I'm from Vancouver, the other side of Canada, where our good friend Lindsay's from.
Okay, I have a question for you. If you had to pick shooting a wedding on either a disposable camera, you have no idea how it's going to come out, or an iPhone 6, which one are you choosing?
Oh, that's a great question. An iPhone 6? First of all, I want an iPhone 6 because they're so small and cute and would actually fit in my pocket.
It'd be so nice.
It'd be so nice. But no, give me the disposable camera. Like an unlimited amount of disposable cameras.
You need many.
So many. Yeah, I would totally do that.
It would be a very expensive wedding for you to edit. I mean, to develop.
I'm not editing anything. Like the guy at wherever I send the disposable cameras is doing the editing.
How much money will that cost, though? It's like you have to chop off a limb and sell it on the black market in order to afford a disposable.
I would rather do that than sit in Lightroom looking at iPhone 6 photos and going, how am I going to deal with this? That's way more painful. I'll pay for the disposable camera development.
Valid.
You heard it here first. Jeff Chang wants to shoot your wedding on a disposable camera.
Yeah, 2026.
At Jeff Chang at The Apartment Photo. I would love that too. Honestly, one of my favorite parts
I actually think it would be fun.
Shooting wedding days on Super 8 film is that I get the scans back. I'm like, that's what it looks like, and that's what you get. And I feel like couples especially, are resigned to be like, oh, that's just what it is.
That's where it is.
The way they think that people can't edit video, they just don't see film the same. Like they see the films the same way. Like it can't be messed with. That's what it looks like in camera. That's what you get.
There's less room for people to have requests, which I think is nice. But also, disposable, it's so fast. We brought a disposable camera with us to Vegas and shot a bunch of frames on it, and it was just fun. And it's just like also the same disposable that we brought to Vegas. I brought it because it's had 10 frames shot on it for God knows how long.
Too long.
But then we determined how long. 2 years ago, I took that thing to New York for Christmas. And so Taylor was like, oh, I just got some of your pictures from New York last Christmas. And I was like, those are from 2 years ago, which I can always tell based on what color my hair is because my hair was highlighted. And I was like, my hair's been this color for 2 years. That's so funny. That's which I also love a disposable for that reason because it's like just like a little archive.
You just don't know what's on it.
Time capsule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree. Fun. I do the same thing. I would go for film over iPhone 6.
I also just think like, well, you're gonna see Jeff's work and you're gonna understand it, but I think his work is far more. It would be far
painful.
More suitable on a film than on an iPhone 6.
Guaranteed. Let's go to Jeff again.
Okay, we're back with a Las Vegas related question. Here's the gamble. You either are going to win $500, and if you don't win the $500, if you do lose, the next wedding that you shoot, you have to edit entirely in free apps. Are you going to take that bet? Do you want the $500, or do you want to risk shooting and editing a wedding that you have to edit entirely in free apps? Free apps. Visco on your phone, on Instagram. What are you going to do?
I don't want the $500.
How much would it take?
For me to take the bet? 10 grand.
He's rich, guys. He's rich. I'd do it for $6,000.
$6,000 or 600? 6,000? Oh, okay. Oh, you're talking USD? 6,000 USD? Oh yeah, 10,000 Canadian is what I was saying. So we're the same. It's the same.
Okay.
It's a terrible question.
We'll take your bet, Las Vegas. If you want to give us some really weird odds.
We'll take 6K USD, and we may have to edit a wedding in Visco.
Like, again, did I have a lobotomy when I was asking these questions?
Do you know what it was?
Were we rolling dice? Like, what was the game that the bet was associated with?
Let's
like,
say.
I love that Jeff is such a pro. He just rolls with it. He's like, I'll answer this stupid ass question.
You know, it's not our fault. The fact that they pump so much oxygen into these places, we're probably all rolling on just pure oxygen.
Bad. Yeah. It's so funny. No, and like I wasn't drinking, so just to be clear, it did seem like I was actually just loaded because of the logic behind these. But you know, thanks Jeff for rolling with my question.
Thanks, buddy. One more from Jeff.
I don't know how hard you like to party, Jeff. I feel like as a fellow Canadian, I think that you could get a little wild, I imagine. Now, imagine this. One night you get a little too crazy. You wake up in Las Vegas and you have the most god-awful photography tattoo you could ever imagine. What did you get?
Oh my God. it would probably be like a camera, but with like a slogan. And it would say something like, freeze the moment.
Click your way through my life.
Treasure every moment. Yeah. Maybe the camera.
Develop the negatives. What's that one? Develop from the negatives.
Are we just going back and forth with bad slogans?
Just made him do more.
Live, life, click.
That would be so okay. We're getting those tonight. On my right hand, down to the shutter.
I want it somewhere on the back of my body so that when I show it to people, I have to like kind of do like this. Like I want to look really awkward when I'm showing it.
I want it to be on your shoulder so that you wake up in the morning and you don't remember why your shoulder hurts, and then you go home and it's not for 3 months that you realize that you did that in Las Vegas that one night.
Do you want it like in reverse so when you look at it in the mirror, it's right, it's the correct way? Yeah, like ambulance. Yeah, backwards ambulance.
Yes.
Jeff, you're a good sport, man. We're so excited to talk to you.
That was so good. Maybe the next time we meet up in Europe, we're going to get matching photography tattoos. Live, laugh,
lovely.
click.
That'd be amazing.
I think is going on somewhere.
That's just a good preview. Jeff's a good egg. We're excited to talk to him. We're excited to show you what that episode looks like, sounds like. He's a good guy. So let's move along. This has been a long episode so far. People love longer ones, but we're already at like 55 minutes. So.
I know. We could also save some of these,
You wanna
Timbo.
save some for
I
next
think
time?
we should. I think we should keep some in the bank because truly, we've got some good gems here.
Yes.
We've got a lot of fun friends that we have to catch up with, and I don't want people to lose interest in our next people. We've got Taylor Jackson. We've got Staci Brucks.
Yep.
I don't know who else, but we've got some friends coming up, and I don't want to rush our experience.
Oh, Chris Denner?
Chris Denner. So listen, that's a whole Chris Denner's his whole
Chris
own
Denner's
podcast.
a whole dinner.
So I fear that we have to end it here because I don't want us to lose the value of our friends. And actually, you know what's that one thing that we did hear from somebody at WPPI is that they wanted the podcast to be longer because it's too short for their runs.
Yeah, so I think around that 1 hour mark is
first
what they
of
want.
all, that's crazy. No one's ever said they want to hear more of us. Second of all, you should run less. That's too long to run.
Yeah.
Who was it that told us that?
I don't remember.
So sorry.
Sorry, bud.
It was like this. It was like the Harry Potter thing, right out of my brain. But so sorry if you wanted this to be longer because it won't be, because we're going to end it right on here.
That's a good little preview, though, to understand what we're dealing with next week. What we're excited about for next week. Jeff Chang from The Apartment Photo. He's a lovely human being. He's from Vancouver,
a fellow Canadian,
Canada, and we're excited to talk to him.
We don't have to pay any extra tariffs to have him on.
Nope.
He's just full on Canadian dollars.
Domestic boy.
Yeah. We're not paying him, but if we were, it would be in Canadian dollars, and we love that. So it would be actually, like he said, $10,000 to even walk into a wedding.
Thank you so much for liking, commenting, and subscribing, and sharing this video and this episode of the podcast. We're excited to see you next week, every Monday. Have a great week, everyone.
Thanks, y'all. Toodles.
Bye.